Hi, everyone. Good afternoon and happy Thursday. Mary Lang here with my little series on how I help small medical practices to build loyal teams. This is session number 2, and I'm extremely excited to welcome you all back. Um, as often, I do like to kind of pay attention to Q&A and help you with potential question or real life issue you have when it comes to hiring or maybe even a finding job if you're a candidate. Regardless, excuse me, this thing is on here. Let me just, there we go. Um, Sorry about that. But however, sometimes the start is a little slow, so I often have a little presentation and we're gonna go into Q&A if any. With that being said, for today's topic, I decided to talk about time and when it comes to hiring, how essential it is to be timely. And I'm going to break it down and explain what that really means and how it can help you when it comes to your hiring process, how it can save you money and how it can make you look better as an employer and get you in just better shape as an individual, as a leader, as a boss, if you will, since empty positions can be a burden. So with that being said, I'm going to cover a few important, let's say, harmful items that are caused by a long-term empty job positions we might have. First and foremost, we all know if we are short-staffed, somebody else has to pick up the load, which means your other employees will have to cover a load for the person that is not there. I oftentimes talk to HR managers and they're like, my HR team can actually cover it. Yes, they can, but they are not designated recruiter. They are there to answer concerns of the employees. They're there to process payroll, benefits, time off, whatever it might be. So if you're dealing with a position that is hard to fill, they have to stay extra time at work, which means overtime, which means extra cost for you. So overall, I would call this burden loss productivity, burnout for the existing employees who are picking up the load of the for the person that is not there, for the professional that is not there just yet, which can, of course, impact the workflow as well and cause some delays. On top of that, let's say you know what you're doing, you're on top of your game, or your HR team is. Um, Longer you're looking, more time you take, more it costs you for the following reasons. Um, Recruitment costs money. You have to advertise that job. You have to have staff who will invest time to spend time on reviewing resumes, calling these people, organizing interviews. And for some reason, if you are getting, especially for hard to fill positions, if you're getting people in uh, and you need to see 7 of them before you make a decision, I say you might be a little bit, a little bit causing even deeper issue here. It's hard to find them, so keep that in mind. You might not be able to source 7 people, so try to work with what you have. I guess that would be my advice here. The other way to really harm yourself when it comes to open positions that you can't fill is, um, sadly, you really can't operate, right? And with that being said, you try to reach for, when I say you, I mean employers, you try to reach for a certain, let's say, help, right? And that help can be very costly. And what I mean here is usually I see a lot of medical facilities going for temporary staffing. And temporary staffing is not bad, don't get me wrong, but it's actually a great solution. But you need to understand that it's almost like it's almost exactly the same thing with the higher price tag. Because even if it's temporary employee, you still have to train them, get involved, onboard them, and do all that. But they will leave. And on top of that, they will cost you more per hour or per quarter or however you decide to pay them than if you actually onboarded your own employee. So please keep that in mind, unless you are seeing surge in a huge incoming numbers of cases or patients or whatever might be, that you're safe to cover it, go for it. But on that, it can be another additional expense that you might not be aware of. And lastly, besides just harming your budget, harming your employees, having open position for quite some time can actually harm patient revenue. You have to reschedule, you have to postpone, you have to maybe even cancel, right? Unfortunately, it happens. I've been seeing it pretty much since day one, and it's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for staff members, for patients, for family, for providers involved. It's just a headache and nightmare, and that ultimately can cause impact or new patient flow for your practice, for your facility, and whatnot, right? So let's kind of summarize these items that I just shared when it comes to open position, the harming items that I'm referring to. I call them harming because they're really not helpful at all. Is lost productivity on the current team members, overtime for your current staff, which cost you more because you have to pay overtime. Unless if they are salary, they're gonna be burnt out, unhappy, and kind of, just not able to deliver the way they're supposed to because they work 18 hours yesterday. Overtime might be great for some. I remember days when I love my overtime, but you really can't do for long term any type of overtime. And that another harmful item that I would like to mention is your recruitment cost. Longer positions open, harder you work on it, more time you spend trying to source, paying for advertisements, all that adds up. Option that I see many reach for, which is great solution, but very costly, temporary staffing solution, and sadly your patient revenue loss, postponing and canceling their cases, and things of that nature. I did say I would love to cover time when it comes to as a factor when it comes to hiring, and this is what I mean. The big motivation came from LinkedIn. I had a small little recording on that, um, and I wanted to kind of circle that back in this session as well because I got a lot of interaction from it. I received a lot of great questions from it. I received a lot of understanding and like people just feeling that pain. So what happens when I say time? Time factor in hiring is essential as much as it is money that we put in, let's say, advertising, people that we have in a company that do hiring. Is that essential? And here's why. If we have applicant today, and I see this day in and day out, it happens to me. It just actually happened to me a couple days ago. I have applicant, you have applicant. We love their resume. They're overqualified. They're amazing. They're like, wow, this is really a God's work right here, right now. But you don't get to call them that same day or next day. As much as excited you are or I am about that candidate, someone else is as well. Because let's be honest here, when we are looking for jobs as a candidate, we are applying multiple times, and oftentimes, and I was guilty of this. Recruiter or hiring manager will call and they're like, I'm sorry, who is this? Oh, I guess I applied. So they apply so many times they don't even know um, where they applied it. They can't recall it, and nobody's there to blame them. I was guilty of this as well, and I'm sure perhaps you as a viewer can relate to this as well. So with that being said, longer you wait, the bigger chance it is for someone else to grab that candidate, get him an interview, and get him hired. Um, My rule is if I receive resume, I'm calling them within 15 to 20 minutes, unless they apply at 11 p.m. when I'm sleeping. Otherwise, I'm calling them next day. And I call, I do not text, I do not reach out over any other source. I am phoning them immediately. I'm so and so. I received your resume, or I find your resume, whatever might be case. I have job opening in your area. It looks like you are actively looking. I think we should connect. There is a potential here. So please call me back at your earliest convenience. Here's my phone number. Never ever wait a week. Sadly, the issue is most of operational folks, hiring managers, people who run day-to-day activities at any business, this they cannot drop everything they do to do the call. So it causes it causes applicants to walk away, not because they want to, but only because something else came along. They already are in place where they don't remember for what or who they are applied for. Usually people apply for a similar company's profile. They're looking at pay, schedule, and requirements. So of course area as well. So to them really doesn't matter who is the one that will take them on, unless they are what would be a word, hunting for, let's say, a brand name or something like that. So time is of essence when it comes to hiring, but sadly it's not stressed enough to, and it can be stressed enough because everyone is slammed with other issues, other day-to-day items they need to handle. And I feel like this is like a spot where a good recruiter really comes in and shines, because that's what we do. We will drop everything to call the candidate, because candidate, that's our profession, right? We don't have other operations, we have calls and people to deal with. So if you do have a recruiter on staff, I do hope that this is something they're aware of, that nothing else should be a priority, but that one hot application that perhaps came in, or referral, or contact information of potential professional that you're looking for. Um, I believe that I have covered the harmful items that I talked about in the beginning very well. I wanted to pause and see if we have questions on that, and see if anyone is curious or has anything to add um, on my topic about time frame when it comes to hiring and how essential it is. I will pause here and take a quick look into my chat here to see. I see we do not have any questions just yet. No worries. I do appreciate you all joining and watching live. Awesome. Well, folks, it is a pleasure to visit with you once again. I am sorry that we are departing and closing this visit a bit sooner than scheduled. My goal is to have a Q&A session with viewers. I hope what I covered was helpful, and I hope to see you all next time. I will be here again on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, unless there's smaller exciting news that I would love to mention tonight. There might be a potential partnering with a guru who studies. Not gonna reveal his name just yet. He has amazing ebook that I reviewed, and I was like, wow. He studies time from moment employees do get hired to what happens to them throughout the onboarding process, and how retention really works from the employer side. So if everything works out on my end with guru that I am referring to, we will have a guest speaker quite often. And if that happens, since he is in a different time zone, we will move this session to another time that is more appropriate for his time zone as well. I thank you all for your time this afternoon. It was lovely to visit. Again, if you guys have any questions, need any help, LinkedIn is a great way to talk to me. I am on it every day. My contact information are also on LinkedIn. Feel free to phone me, email me, whatever you need. I will be around to assist you. Until then, happy hiring, stay well, and take care, you all. Bye.